Welcome to this week's box office breakdown and Netflix viewership numbers. Starting with the box office, we're diving into the weekend top 10, the biggest hits, and everything you need to know about the world of box office. Let's get started. First up, the top 10. Let's take a look at how the weekend played out. We will start with the number 1, which was the new debut of Flight Risk with 12 million. In second place is the 6th weekend of Mufasa the Lion King with 8.7 million, dropping 28% from last week. Its running total is now 221.1 million. In third place is One of Them Days, second week with 8 million, dropped 32% from last week, and its running total is now 25.1 million. Fourth place is Sonic the Hedgehog 3 with 5.5 million in its 6th week, dropping 36% from last week. Its running total is now 226.1 million. And in 5th place is Moana 2 in its 9th week, crossing 4.3 million, dropping 28% from last week. And its running total is now 450 million. And now for numbers 6 to 10. At 6th place we have a new debut Presence with 3.42 million. And number 7 is Wolfman with 3.4 million in its 2nd week, dropping 69% from last week. Its running total is now 17.8 million. Number 8 is A Complete Unknown. In its 5th week it was 3.1 million, dropping 17% from last week. Its running total is now 62.9 million. And number 9 is Den of Thieves 2, Pantera. In its 3rd week it was 3 million, dropping 55% from last week. Its running total is now 31.9 million. And the number 10 is The Brutalist. In its 6th week it was 2.87 million, adding 46% from last week, and its running total is now 9.33 million. This year's top opener remains Den of Thieves 2 Pantera with 50 million. But the number 2 is now Flight Risk with its 12 million debut. Number 3 is One of Them Days with 11.8 million. Those two can switch places when the final numbers come in. Maybe Flight Risk gets a bit lower and then One of Them Days will be number 2 again, but we will see that next week. Wolfman is in number 4 with 10.9 million, and the other new debut from this week, Presence, is at number 5 with 3.42 million. And here's how the weekend shaped up per theater. Lisa, A Truly Terrific, Absolutely True Story is at number 1 with 19k per theater in its 1 theater. And number 2 is I'm Still Here from Brazil with 14.1k per theater in its 17 theaters. Number 3 is new debut Flight Risk with 3.79k in all of its 3,161 theaters. Number 4 is One of Them Days with 2.99k in its 2,675 theaters. And number 5 is The Brutalist with 2.57k in all of its 1,118 theaters. Taking a closer look at the full weekend chart, you can see that we are again above the averages of 2021 to 2024, still below the average of 2015 to 2019, but when we look at this week compared to last week, we can also see that we are more above the averages of 2021 and 2024. So let's keep this up and don't get below that green line. Now let's check out the studio pie chart. Here's the breakdown of how studios are performing this year. The total domestic box office is now 495.3 million. Disney earned the most of that, with Universal in 2nd place and Paramount in 3rd place. You can also see that A24 has a nice chunk of this chart. And when new releases of Warner Bros. And Amazon MGM are releasing, we can see those ones get bigger again. But for now, it's Disney on top. And now for some domestic studio rankings for some studios. Starting with A Complete Unknown. It's now the 7th highest grossing Searchlight Pictures movie domestically, surpassing The Grand Budapest Hotel and Little Miss Sunshine. It will soon pass The Shape of Water's 63.8 million, and perhaps it will go to number 5 for Sideways with 71.5 million, but we will see how much money A Complete Unknown can make. And here's the domestic top 10 of 2025. At number 1 is Den of Thieves 2, Pantera with 31.9 million. At number 2 we have One of Them Days with 25.1 million. Number 3 is Wolfman with 17.8 million. At number 4 we have new release Flight Risk with 12 million. Number 5 is also the new release Presence with 3.42 million. Number 6 is the other debut, Brave the Dark from Angel Studios with 2.57 million. Number 7 is Game Changer from India with 2.1 million. Number 8 we have The Damned with 1.34 million. Number 9 is the re-release of 7 with 915k. And last place, number 10, is Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare with 230k. Now looking at the domestic top 10 of 2024, we have in number 1 is Inside Out 2 with 652.9 million. Number 2 is Deadpool and Wolverine with 636.7 million. Wicked is now at number 3 with 468.8 million. Moana 2 is at 4 with 450 million. Despicable Me 4 is at number 5 with 361.0 million. Beetlejuice is at number 6 with 294.1 million. Doom Part 2 is at number 7 with 282.1 million. Twisters is at number 8 with 267.8 million. And for now, Sonic is still at number 9 with 226.1 million. With number 10 is Mufasa Lion King with 221.1 million. But we can see that Mufasa Lion King is outcrossing Sonic the Hedgehog 3 every day. So it will eventually surpass Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and be the number 9 movie. And maybe if it makes a whole bunch more, it will get to number 8, but we will see that. And now looking back at the domestic top 10 of 2023, here we can see that the lowest grosser is Sound of Freedom with 184.2 million. For now, the lowest grosser of 2024 is Mufasa Lion King with 221.1 million, but that number will go higher. So our domestic top 10 will have more releases that cost higher than in 2023. So that's interesting to see how they play out. Also, there are no 400 million crossers here, but in 2024 we had 2 and 2 600 million crossers. So that's interesting to see how that changed year to year. On the international stage, these films are leading the charts, beginning with number 1 Mufasa Lion King. It cost 15.4 million for a running total of 405.6 million. And number 2 is Sonic the Hedgehog 3 with 10.6 million for an international total of 220.5 million. Number 3 we have China's Octopus with Broken Arms with 7 million for a running total of 125.2 million. Number 4 is Paddington in Peru with 6.3 million for a running international total of 83.0 million. Number 5 is Moana 2 with 5.8 million for a running total of 576 million. When we combine our international grosses with our domestic grosses, we'll get the worldwide top 5. But number 1 again is Mufasa the Lion King with 24.1 million. Its global total is now 626.7 million. Number 2 is Sonic the Hedgehog 3 with 16.1 million for a running total of 446.6 million. Number 3 is Flight Risk with 12 million. Number 4 we have Moana 2 with 10.1 million for a running total of 1.026 billion. And at number 5 is A Complete Unknown with 8 million for a running total of 74.1 million. And now some franchise and studio updates. Nosferatu is now the 6th highest grossing Focus Features movie globally. It surpassed Darkest Hour and Johnny English Strikes Again. It will soon surpass Burn After Reading and probably also Brokeback Mountain, but then we will have to see how much money it can make overseas and domestically. I don't believe it's going to the number 1 place, London Has Fallen, but maybe with the new Oscar nominations from Nosferatu it will gain some more attraction, so we will see about that. Moana 2 is now the 3rd highest grossing Walt Disney Animation Studios movie globally. It surpassed Zootopia's 1.024 billion. It's only behind Frozen and Frozen 2, and we will have to see how Zootopia 2 does this year. Will it be like Moana 2, that it does more than the first movie? Now looking at Paddington in Peru, it's now at 83 million worldwide. It will probably, when it releases domestically, already have passed the 100 million mark. And then we have to see how much money it will make. Will it be like the previous 2 movies, around 300 million, or will it be a bit less? We will see about that. And let's wrap up the box office part with the worldwide top 10s. At number 1 we have Inside Out 2 from 2024 with 1.698 billion. At number 2 we have Deadpool Wolfie with 1.338 billion. At number 3 we have Moana 2 with 1.026 billion. Number 4 we have Despicable Me 4 with 969.4 million. And at number 5 we have now Wicked, surpassing Doom Part 2 at number 6. Wicked has now a 770 million gross. And Doom Part 2 is now at number 6 with 714.4 million. Mufasa the Lion King surpassed Kung Fu Panda 4 and Godzilla x Kong the New Empire. It's now at number 7 with 626.7 million. Number 8 is Godzilla x Kong with 571.8 million. Number 9 is Kung Fu Panda 4 with 547.7 million. And number 10 is Yola with 481.2 million. When looking back at the global top 10 of 2023, here we can see that the lowest movie on this chart is Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 with 570.6 million. That is higher than our lowest movie of 2024. But we have 3 movies surpassing the 1 billion mark in 2024. So that is a bit higher. And our highest grossing movie of 2024 was higher than our highest grossing movie of 2023 with Barbie with 1.447 billion. So this is also an interesting chart to look at when comparing year to year. How are we doing? What is our lowest movie? What is our highest movie? Then we can do comparisons between them. And now looking at the top 10 video game movies, at number 1 is the Super Mario Bros. Movie with a massive 1.361 billion. At number 2, with a big gap, is Detective Pikachu with 415.1 million. And our new number 3 is Sonic the Hedgehog 3 with 446.6 million. And it will probably surpass Detective Pikachu this week already to be the number 2 highest grossing video game movie. Number 4 we have Warcraft with 439.0 million. Number 5 we have Rampage with 428.1 million. Number 6 is Uncharted with 407.1 million. Number 7 is Sonic the Hedgehog 2 with 405.4 million. Number 8 is the Angry Birds movie with 352.3 million. Number 9 we have Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time with 336.4 million. And in last place is Sonic the Hedgehog 1 with 319.7 million. And now we are looking at the Netflix viewership numbers of the week of January 13 to 19. First up, the top 10 movies on Netflix. In first place is Back in Action with 46.8 million. That's a really high debut, and we will have to look at how the next weeks will be, but it will probably be on the top 10 movies of all time, but we will look at that later on. Number 2 is Friends movie Ad Vitam with 25.5 million. Number 3 is The Secret Life of Pets with 8.9 million. Number 4 we have The First Secret Life of Pets with 5.2 million. And number 5 is Night and Day with 5.2 million. Now for the numbers 6 to 10. Sixth place is Carry On with 3.6 million. Number 7 is Despicable Me 2 with 3.4 million. Number 8 is Ma with 3.2 million. Number 9 is Sonic the Hedgehog with 3.7 million. And number 10 we have Despicable Me 1 with 2.7 million. And here's the top 10 most viewed movies on Netflix of all time. At number 1 we have Red Notice with 230.9 million. At number 2, Don't Look Up with 171.4 million. And at number 3 we have Carry On from late last year with 160.1 million. Number 4 is The Adam Project with 157.6 million. Number 5 we have Bird Box with 157.4 million. Number 6 we have Leave the World Behind with 143.4 million. Number 7 we have The Gray Man with 139.3 million. Damn Soul from last year is at number 8 with 138.0 million. We Can Be Heroes is at number 9 with 137.3 million. Number 10 for now is The Mother with 136.4 million. But if Back in Action will remain popular in the next few weeks, it will probably be our new number 10 and will climb up this list. Next up we have the top 10 shows on Netflix, English and non-English. In first place is American Pinefall with 14.3 million. Number 2 is the second season of XO Kitty with 14.2 million. Number 3 is the second season of Squid Game with 10.9 million. Number 4 is the first season of Sakamoto Days with 8.6 million. Number 5 we have limited series The Breakthrough with 6.9 million. And now for number 6 to 10. At 6th place we have miniseries Missing You. Number 7 Fake Profile Killer Match with 5.1 million. Number 8 we have the first season of Squid Game with 5 million. Number 9 is season 4 of Singles Inferno with 4.8 million. And at last place, number 10 is Raw from January 13th with 3.7 million. And here's the top 10 most viewed English shows on Netflix of all time. At number 1 is Wednesday, season 1 with 252.1 million. At number 2 is Stranger Things, season 4 with 170.7 million. Both of those series will get a new season this year, so we will see how those seasons compare to the seasons previously. Number 3 we have Dahmer with 115.6 million. Number 4 is Bridgerton season 1 with 113.3 million. Number 5 is The Queen's Gambit with 112.8 million. Number 6 we have Bridgerton season 3 with 106.0 million. And now at number 7 is The Night Agents season 1 with 98.2 million. In next week's show we have the numbers for the season 2 debut, so we will see how season 2 compares with season 1. Number 8 we have Fool Me Once with 98.2 million. Number 9 we have Stranger Things season 3 with 94.8 million. And number 10 we have Bridgerton season 2 with 93.8 million. And now looking at the top 10 shows on Netflix non-English. Number 1 we have Squid Game season 1 with 265.2 million. And now Squid Game season 2 is already at number 2 with 165.7 million. Money Heist Part 4 is at number 3 with 106.0 million. Lupin Part 1 is at number 4 with 99.5 million. Number 5 is Money Heist Part 5 with 99.2 million. Number 6 we have Money Heist Part 3 with 80 million. Number 7 we have Lupin Part 2 with 68.4 million. Number 8 is new series La Palma with 63.4 million. Number 9 is Who Killed Sarah season 1 with 58.4 million. And number 10 is Money Heist Berlin season 1 with 56.7 million. When we combine the English chart and the non-English chart, we have the top 10 shows on Netflix no matter the language of all time. Number 1 is Squid Game season 1 with 265.2 million. Number 2 we have Wednesday season 1 with 252.1 million. Number 3 is now Squid Game season 2 with 165.7 million. Number 4 is Stranger Things season 4. Number 5 is Dahmer. Number 6 is Bridgerton season 1. 7 is The Queen's Gambit. Number 8 is Money Heist Part 2. 9 is Bridgerton season 3. And the last one on this chart is Lupin Part 1 at number 10. And now looking ahead, here are the movies and shows coming your way, beginning with Hulu's Paradise, starring Sterling K. Brown and James Marsden, which releases on Tuesday, January 28th, the first season. It involves a Secret Service agent assigned to the protection detail of a former president. Apple TV's Plus Mythic Quest, starring Rob McElhenney and Ashley Burch, releases on Wednesday, January 29th, its fourth season. The series follows a fictional video game studio that produces Mythic Quest, a popular game. On Wednesday, January 29th, the first few episodes of season 1 of Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man releases on Disney+. It stars Hudson Thames and Coleman Domingo. This explores Peter Parker's origin story and early days using the Spider-Man persona. Next up on Thursday, January 13th, the second season of The Reboot on Netflix releases. It stars Noah Centineo and Laura Haddock. It follows a CIA lawyer who becomes involved in massive international conflicts with dangerous parties after an asset tries to expose her relationship to the agency. Now for some movies releasing in theaters. First up on Friday, January 31 is Warner Bros.' Companion, starring Sophie Thatcher and Jack Quaid. It's about a weekend getaway among friends at a remote cabin, which unravels into chaos after a revelation that one of the guests is a companion robot. Next up is Universal and DreamWorks Animation's Dogman, with voices from Pete Davidson and Ricky Gervais. It's when a human police officer named Knight and his dog Craig are injured together on the job. A life-saving surgery changes the course of history when Dogman is born. A documentary nominated for the Oscar releases in only a few theaters on Friday. It's about a Palestinian activist that has resisted Israel forces the placement of his community. And lastly, we have a movie Valiant 1, starring Jay Stokes and Lana Condor. The premise is that a US helicopter crashes on the North Korean side, and the survivors must work together to protect the civilian tech specialist and find their way out without the help of the US military support. And that's it for this week's box office breakdown. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe for all the latest updates. And see you next time.